Now I return back to those childhood gardens, in my memory at least. I was interrupted by the breakdown of the technology. There was no memory on the disk in the camera. And I have experienced again a kind of disturbing influence of technology, just slightly to be compared to those disturbances we have heard as or experienced as children while we were playing, where suddenly somebody clashed the door or somebody called us for lunch, and we have been really deeply immersed in our deep, sense of unity with nature, with the playground, with the wind, with the trees, and the sky, maybe other children. And this is again and again being discussed millions of times in human history and psychology and literature and poetry and sociology and philosophy, as the loss of the primal innocence, the songs of innocence. Blake, I think, the songs of innocence, and experience them. Later on, experience comes, and the loss of innocence and the metaphorical loss of the great gardens of paradise, or some golden age, some Atlantis, some islands of beauty. Okay, this is it. This is a metaphorical expression for the loss of the childish unity with the elements of nature. Supposing certainly that you have been lucky enough to play in nature, as for example Edgar Allan Poe was, whose poem I have paraphrased before the camera broke down. So let me have a look now. Yes, now it is recording, and I have still 10 minutes to go according to the display. Yes, and Allan Poe definitely has suffered a great loss of his childhood fantasies and experiences. Now we are old enough now to realize what's going on. We have been lucky enough to survive all those traumatic breakdowns, as we have lost again and again something that has connected us with the childhood innocence, may it be our love for music, for certain nature which we had to leave, a certain place at the lake or in the mountains or in the woods, where our parents or our partner or whatever it was, our necessity to move because of job. We have lost a place of calmness and silence and mother-like, embracement of nature. Then we have lost our lovers. Then we have maybe lost our real mothers, and so on. A little time you lose and lose and lose something of those gardens of innocence. And it is causing a lot of shocks for the soul, no? And as we have now come to the general acceptance of the ideas of psychosomatic medicine, we definitely carry the traces of such losses in our body. The muscles get tense, the spine gets crooked, the inner organs, which are governed by the parasympathicus, begin to malfunction. The cells themselves, become to degenerate because they do not experience this loving embracement of life that was given to us in childhood. And so we invent thousands of therapies to heal ourselves. And one of them may be this, what I call the flowing movement, the continuous movement, which is passive. It's strange to say that a movement of human body can be passive. Isn't it so that we kind of always move because we want to move? If I want to take something, I have to reach my hand, I have to make an intention, grab it, and pull it to me. This is all willpower, isn't it? But are there not other kinds of movements, like when you sleep and you dream, and your body moves because it wants to reach the images of the dream? Or isn't it sometimes when you are like being moved? Remember some of the great sportsmen, like tennis players. I play tennis myself, and they can tell you that if there has been only one perfect ball during the match, then it is, deeply engraved in the memory of the body, and they like to experience it again and again in their memory. And it is like, they were moved by some magic, they were drawn and they did it, and it was unconscious, it was done through their body. And a good trainer of whatever kind of motion, sport or dance, would simply show the most perfect kind of movement he knows. Let me now have a look again. Yes, technology is now on my side. I use it, as Heidegger would say, with Gelassenheit. That is, I am using the modern technology to bring you this message. But I am not going to be put down by it if I suddenly discover that it is not recording. I will not have a shock of loss, Okay, but if it is on my side, I am grateful for this technology, because it enables me to communicate to you just in this moment when I feel like it. Okay, so what I was saying, that the great trainer or teacher, instructor of any kind of sport movement, be it skiing, tennis, whatever, which I have myself done many times, watches his students and pupils and clients, and he says, how is it to be done? How is it to be done that they experience this, what I do so naturally? It seems to be so easy. And then he may have glimpsed a moment, there's a sequence of movement in somebody who is, swinging the racket, and suddenly he loses his conscious control. He doesn't want to make any impression on the trainer or on anybody else, and suddenly there is a part of perfect swing, and he says, stop it, and he goes in, stays in the same position, and tries to imitate it, and then the client stands behind him, and they are trying to make this small sequence hundreds and hundreds of times until it's perfect, and they build up slowly from it, continuing, and they make a lot of corrections which is necessary, and that's why the trainer should know something about physiology, anatomy, and he should have a great experience of his own body. So what I'm trying to point out on all this circling around, that there are instances of movement that are like of wondrous, passive, spontaneous. And naturally, Qi Gong is a kind of Taoistic praxis of flowing with the living force of nature, can be very effective in teaching you passive motion. Now, from my experience, I can tell you that it takes rather a long time of mechanic repetition of these traditional movements, yeah. And they are very good for your health, as they are. If they are just mechanic gymnastics, okay, they are good, and you do well to be diligent and exercise for years the same sequence. It's good for your breathing, it's good for your posture, it's in any way as well as good as any European kind of gymnastics. And because it's done outside, it's also good for your immunity and love of nature and so whatever. But then, if you are looking, if you are open to enter again, even be it for a few seconds, this gardens of innocence of your childhood, then you can experience the sudden, you're being moved, and you don't expect the end of the motion. As you reach the end of a certain stretching, the body itself somehow desires to come back, and an opposing part of the body, is yin and yang, is stretching to the other side in harmony and coherence, so that the middle remains always stable and calm. And so you experience this continuous movement, because the next part of the movement is created by the last part of the sequence, and not by your knowing what is to be done. As you have been doing for many years, now I have to do this, I have to stretch my leg, there comes this other sequence, and so. No, the fruit of this many years of mechanic and willpower, diligent exercise, is that your body knows, the cells of your body know what is to be done. So you can simply watch passively, okay? Now let me have a look. Yes, I love this. I have only 1 minute left, 12 seconds. So this is what I would like to invite you to: spontaneous Qi Gong movement. And actually there is a lot of philosophical background that you can bring, like Heidegger's conception of thinking and speech is being brought to you by some great memory of all deep ideas. Né? So there may be a kind of pool of all best Qigong exercises, né? And in tradition and so, and you may suddenly be overwhelmed by this. But this is rather esoteric and doesn't have to be a notion you adhere to. It is simply the evidence of your body, knowing what is to be done. So this is what I call flowing movement. Now because I